if you see myself, if you see me in front of you just sitting there, I never know exactly when I can start on these videos. So I haven't fallen asleep. There's nothing like that happening. I just don't know when to start. You'll notice in the title, by the way, I'm sorry for being late. I was busy writing an article for the newsletter. It's a difficult letter to write. And by the way, that doesn't mean I'm leaving or anything like that. Not difficult in that way. It's just a difficult topic. And I don't know if I'll even present it yet, but we'll see what happens there. But I got so wrapped up in it, and I looked at the clock, and oh my goodness, here we are. I wrote Immanuel in the title. It's a word that we don't normally hear except at Christmas time, or Advent, I should say. Advent is a coming of Christ. And somehow that word isn't quite right. It is God with us. It's not God is coming. God is with us right now. And that's what we are trying to do in these types of devotions. It's to know that we are never alone. God has not abandoned us. God will not abandon us. It is one of the promises of God. Lean into the promises. The promises that God gives us helps identify who we are. The promises of God say, in all respect, I love you. Some people have some problems with a gushy God. I do if God really starts to drool on me, then I'm going to have some issues. But I'm one of these people who found that God loves me in two different ways. And I'm not going to get into that. But I discovered God as one person and another, and God loves them both. So, it's a time to realize that God is right here, right now. It's His promise to us. And we can live into that promise. And so let us feel God. God is already here. That's the promise. He is already here. What we have to do is invite ourselves into the life of God. God has called us already. We are called His. That is the promise of baptism. Now, let us allow ourselves to be there with Him. Rest your feet on the floor. By the way, this is a marvelous thing to do lying down. Flat on your back. If you want to do that, lying flat on your back, just trying this. If you don't want to sleep until nighttime, you might want to set an alarm just in case you fall asleep. But if you're actively meditating while lying down, lie down flat on your back if that's not an issue. Sometimes it helps to put a wrapped up towel underneath the small of your back to support that small of your back. If you have issues, sometimes it helps to elevate your head just a little bit, not a whole lot. We still want to maintain the head over heart, heart over sit bones. We want to keep that alignment straight. If you don't, it's not a big deal. But do whatever it takes for you to be comfortable. Stretch out your legs straight ahead of you, or whatever that means. You know what I mean by that, I hope. And just let your feet fall apart. Rest your arms along your side, palms up. I shouldn't say it has to be palms up, but keep the arms away from your side. Don't allow the arms or the hands to touch the body. Why? Actually, you can do that, but I find it easier, not as distracting, to have my hands touching anything but the floor or the bed or whatever I'm lying on. Try that sometimes, because it really helps to just kind of like lie there in the God's loving embrace. It is us being that chicken, being called under the wings of God. We are his chicks. So, if you're sitting on a chair, feet flat on the floor, check out your contact points. Head over heart, heart over sit bones. Do a quick scan over your whole body. What are your emotions today? Are you hot and bothered? I am, just because of the article I'm writing. And yes, you know where it hit me, right? I also know that it hits my wife, Gwen, in a certain spot. It hits her in the jaw. That's a typical spot. The jaw is just so typical. For me, it's actually around the eyes. Although my stomach will get hit pretty hard sometimes, my shoulder and neck. If you have an injury in some place, your emotions will very often go there. Not always. Everybody is so different. There is no rhyme or reason to why the stress is where it is in your body. It just is. You're not weird. It's who you are. What is emotion? Scan your body. Where is it living in your body? Maybe you're asking, why do I care? Well, that is a good, wonderful question. Sometimes our mind plays tricks on us. Our minds don't allow us to even realize, wow, you're stressed. Let's just cover that up. Your body will tell you the truth. And sometimes you have to peel back the layers of that onion until you get to the center and realize, oh my, I need some God time. That's why we look at the whole body, mind, spirit, and emotions. Breathe. Today I'm going to ask you to pick one word that says, hey, I need to center myself in the presence of God. It might be peace, which is a word I use often. Actually, the word that I use so often is shalom, which is peace, wholeness, whatever. It's a Jewish word. Maybe it's just, I don't want to say a simple word, but Jesus. Maybe it's love. Whatever. You pick a word. I will assume you have your word. Now what I want you to do is on the in-breath, say your word. As you exhale, just exhale. Inhale your word. Exhale. Keep doing that for a while. After a while, just let the word fade into the background. And as you do that, rest yourself in the knowledge that God is Immanuel. God with us, God with you, God with me. Live in that presence. And as your mind drifts from God, use that same word that you picked to bring yourself back. What took you away from God? Be curious about that. What was the distraction? Come back to where you were. This seems like an awfully long time when you're doing this, but let's do this for about 2 minutes. I have to reach for my clock, so if your eyes aren't closed, you see me get my clock. I just want to make sure that I don't waste a whole ton of your time, because once I get into this, I can be there a while. Breathe. God is with you. As your mind wanders, bring yourself back with the word you have chosen. Breathe in the breath of God. Shalom. May the peace of Christ be with you. If you want to stay where you are at the moment and continue, please do so. Those of us who are ready to move on, that's okay. Wiggle your fingers, toes. Slowly open up your eyes. Some of you might be coming out of this going, oh, wow, that was wonderful. Others might be saying, this is impossible. I'm not doing this anymore. Remember that this is a practice. I remember trying to ride bike without training wheels, and it seemed like, I'm pretty sure there was a point in my life when I finally just said, forget it, I will never ride bike in my life. I can't do it. But I did. This is a practice, just like riding bike. Learning how to do something, learning how to cook, learning how to drive a car, learning how to do this. It's never perfect. In fact, sometimes it's the imperfection of this whole thing. All of the times when you went, oh my gosh, I'm not thinking about God anymore. You came back to God. How many times? And the lesson in that is God said, welcome back. There's gospel in that message. There's the good news of Jesus Christ. He is Immanuel. He is here. And He's here for you. Always. Without end. Immanuel. Peace be with you.